approval of the agenda? All in favor?
I approve.
All right. Any opposed? Very good. Let's start then with public comments. We have two.
Sorry, would you like me to?
Okay, Stephanie Kaufman.
Do I have to stand there?
You have to stand at the podium, Stephanie, so everybody can see and hear
Just
you.
spontaneous. I just want, my comment is thank you for all your hard work and all the millions of hours you put into creating the school, because many of us are beneficiaries of that, and I'm very grateful that my daughter has the opportunity to be here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, the other public comment came via email.
Okay, so we have a public comment from Mr. Magnus. Should I read all of you the unfortunate?
No, just cut to the chase.
Okay, let's see. Okay, these two events occurred on the same day, September 16th, when my wife was volunteering at the school. The first concern is that during lunchtime, when the secretary went to lunch, there was nobody who was manning the front desk. As I'm sure you are aware, this poses significant security threat to the students and staff of the school. I would hope that the school has assured measures to cover the front desk at all times during the school day. The other concern is when she was out at the playground volunteering for recess, she noticed trash and at least 15 used cigarette butts on the ground outside the play area. She personally picked them up and cleaned them up herself. Not sure where the cigarettes butt came from, but I am sure it is school policy that smoking in the vicinity of the school grounds is not allowed or tolerated. Please see that these issues are addressed properly. I also have a public comment from Mrs. Cummins regarding this. One, our secretary has never been not covered for lunch that I am aware of. A teacher covers her on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Megan covers her lunch on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It is possible that she stepped into the bathroom for a moment or into the staff lounge, and in that case, either I, Lee, or the health tech answers the door and phone. In the event that she steps to the restroom or to the staff lounge, we do not sit at the front desk for those few minutes typically, but we listen for the phone and doorbell. Number two, regarding the cigarette butts. They are not coming from any school staff. They are coming from the UTS people. Should I say, what's it called? We believe. They throw them on the ground, and every time it rains, it runs into our playground area because we're at a downward slope. Karen and Phil are working on sweeping it up regularly. Additionally, I am pretty sure that Karen has contacted St. John's property and let them know that UTS needs to deposit cigarette butts in an appropriate container.
That's the end of the public comment.
Okay, yes, so the board has been extremely busy with bringing on some new board members as well as our staff liaison. So we'll start with our staff liaison to the board, Mr. Brett Bickle.
Thank you. I'm honored to be the staff liaison. My goal is to help facilitate open communication between the board and the staff. I believe we're headed in a very positive direction, especially this year. And also, I'm looking to have improved communication between the staff. In the years past, it's been more difficult to have open communication. Now, I'm very hopeful that we're off to a really good start this year. So I'm really happy to be a part of the board and to represent the staff. And hopefully, we can just keep on track the way we're going this year. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we actually did have our first meeting with Mr. Bickle present, business board meeting. So at that meeting, we discussed some of the things that we would be talking about at our first board and staff meeting, which is going to happen on October the 13th. And we've come up with a few different things. We wanted to know from staff, for example, what things are working well at our school, what areas of improvement you think we need, and we also want to know, the board wants to know from staff, what do you need from the board in order to be successful? So that's just a starting point. We discussed that, like I said, with Mr. Bickle at our first business meeting, and we will update you after October 13th on how the staff meeting, went as soon as we have it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is introduce our new board members and positions for the board. So I guess I'll start on the end over here. Phil Anderson has been brought onto the board. He's going to be doing pretty much all things facilities related. He's got extensive experience with facilities. He's here all the time. He's got a child here at the school, 2 children? 1 child at the school. So we're really excited to have him on. He's very good at what he does. And he's like the right-hand man for all things facilities. Jen Burley, she's been doing admissions for the last year or more. Saved my butt when it came to lottery and all things admissions. When I came onto the board and was doing all the secretary stuff. Really kind of handed the baton over to Jen. She's got 2 kids here in the school, and she's a great addition as well to the board. Going around, Tara has always been on the board, but she has taken the position of the secretary since I will be vacating that position. So she needs a little support there, a little encouragement, but she's going to be fine. Lonnie Ropp, she has 2 children here at the school. Lonnie has been doing a lot of our insurance-related type of work. Not too many other people on the board have as much knowledge about insurance as Lonnie does, and she's helped us in the past, will continue to help. She's also a great person with advocacy. She's done a lot of work with the advocacy committee. Just a very knowledgeable, very level-headed individual. We're excited to have her on as well. Who's not seated is Shelley Smallwood. I guess she and Tim are going over financial stuff. So Shelley has agreed to be our treasurer, and everybody knows Shelley from all the volunteer work that she's done with all of our volunteers in year 1 and year 2. She continues to be really active with helping out in that capacity. She has agreed to be our treasurer, and she does have some background as well, being a treasurer for other organizations. Who am I missing now? Tim Summers, who does our financial and budget-related work for the school, for FCCS. He has offered to join the board as well as in a trustee position. So we're excited to have him as well. He's got a lot of knowledge, obviously, about all the financial aspects of everything. He and Shelley will be working closely together. Tim has at least 1 or 2 children in the school, right? Tim has 2 kids here? Okay, 1?
1 and maybe 1 is on the way.
I think
Or maybe,
Okay. Right, 2 kids. So that is pretty much the board. There's 8 of us. There will be, I'm missing, Michelle. Michelle is not here right now, but Michelle is going to be the vice president of the board, filling the role that Ginger had. So we are a board of 8 people. We are keeping the door open for a 9th. It's always good to have an odd number of people, so when there's discussions and voting, we won't be split 50-50. So we are still continuing to look for that 9th person. We have had some interest, and we'll be, looking into that later on this week, into meeting with that individual. So we are a full board of 9. I don't think we can handle much more than that. I think 9 is a good number. I know that's something that Tom wanted to see from the start, is between 7 and 9 individuals. And what's great about all these people is we all have different backgrounds and different experiences and strengths. We've only met as a group the 1 time, but already I can see that we're going to be able to work well together. So I would like to give everybody a round of applause that has applied to and joined the board, because this is really a time where we need you to step up, and you all did. So thank you. Discussion of changes at FCCS. So you guys have all gotten, when you received the agenda via email, you also received an improvement handout. And on that the purpose of that handout was to try to communicate with all of the families some of the concerns that have been brought up to us, the board, as a result of the deep dives with parents, the parent surveys, staff feedback that we received from our consultants. So this document was put together in order to share with our administration areas that all the people that are invested in this school have. And that was presented to them in August. So our apologies go out from the board to any staff members who had never seen that document before. It's truly meant to be a supportive document to say this is a starting point for things that we really need to see improve for next year. We asked our stakeholders what they want to see improved, and they answered. So a copy of that document will be provided to all the staff members at our first board and staff meeting in October. So we gave it to the community so that you guys can kind of take a look at it, know that your concerns were heard, know that there's also a lot of plans in place. Things have been addressed already, and there are other things that are in the process of being addressed. So obviously not everything's going to happen the first week of school, but I'm impressed by how much has happened and improvements have been made since that document was presented to Mrs. Cummins and Mr. Hand. So I just want to emphasize what I think is great. My daughter is in 2nd grade, and she's coming home and singing chants, 15 minutes of singing today, which is awesome, and she loves doing it. So that is something I hadn't really seen a whole lot of, maybe a little in kindergarten. So I see that is happening. You're shaking your head, maybe you see it in your daughter's grade as well. The introduction of logic is a class that we all wanted to see happen as soon as we started the school. Logic is part of a classical education. It's meant to be infused into the curriculum, and fortunately it has been. So that's really great to see. Literature, grammar, and spelling have also been increased. In fact, we're purchasing, in the process of approving the purchase of more literature books. Our English teachers have asked for, and will be receiving some additional texts for children of all different grades to be able to enjoy. I was just emailed today by one of our teachers that he's very happy with the amount of professional development that he's been able to take advantage of already. He thinks that's a great plus this year. The Thursday newsletters I think are awesome because you can count on them every Thursday. They're very informative. The dates on there just try to keep everybody on track. We're all busy and have a million things to remember, but knowing that Thursday letter is coming home, I think communication has really improved. I've seen teachers providing syllabus and links to their blogs that I've gotten emails. I know Mr. Bickle and the other specialist teachers have done that. I always know what's happening in my daughter's class in 2nd grade. So for me, I see communication has gotten better. We did ask that of our administration. I see administration in Carline. I usually taunt Mr. Hand when I see him there in the afternoon. I think he kind of likes that. Lonnie Robb has been training a lot of our new volunteers, our new families and volunteer training. Of course, the library is huge too, so between the new volunteers that are getting their training by Lonnie, coming into the classrooms to help out, helping in the library, just having the library available to our families is huge. So I really want to say a special thanks to both of them. Board of Trustee and staff meetings, there's 4 scheduled, 1 for each semester. So that is going to begin to happen. Having the liaison, of course, is a big plus for this year. The Board of Trustees also meets monthly, just so you know, with administration and with Dr. Harris, who is Erica's boss. So there's a monthly meeting where we just kind of sit down and we can say, okay, here's a concern the board has, or Dr. Harris, can you clarify this policy for us? We had our first meeting with him just a couple of weeks ago. Michelle and I were there, and it was very productive. And, it just kind of keeps everybody on the same page. Mrs. Cummins is new to the county still. Of course, we're still a new charter school, so it's great to be able to touch base and speak with Dr. Harris and get his input and just communicate in that way. And of course, the addition of our assistant principal, and there's just more support staff. We have some part-timers now. Spanish, we have 2 teachers for PE, for music, for art. So, I've gotten feedback from staff that they're happier with the amount of staff members that we have. Just more people to help out and kind of share the, spread the wealth, share the burdens. So that's just some stuff that I wrote off the top of my head. If anybody has anything they want to add, staff members or board members want to, also talk about some things.
Do you want to discuss Mrs. Cummins' billing?
Oh, yeah, we do have that as acting head of school. Yeah, that's agenda item number
Oh, I
7.
didn't see it. Okay.
so there are some things that we are still working on too. So we have addressed a lot of areas of concern, and there are still some areas of concern that are in progress. So the information that we received back from Mrs. Cummins is that we're still working on integration and differentiation in the classroom. And you know, this is an ongoing thing. None of our teachers, for the most part, came here with a really strong working knowledge of how to teach classically. So our professional development is there to help them to do the best that they can. So implementing integration of the different subjects and differentiation, it's going to be ongoing. Chants and rhyming, that is in progress as well. And ensuring that staff members respect special education accommodations for students. Again, this is something that, you know, staff members have to learn. No year is going to be the same. Each year they're going to get kids with different kinds of special needs that they're going to have to figure out how to make that accommodation for. So, you know, the best thing to do when you're having a concern about any of these issues is speak to your teacher first, the child's teacher, email or phone call, try and, you know, get on the same page with understanding what each other's limitations are. Mr. Hand is the next line of communication if you feel like you're not being heard or it's not going anywhere, and then Mrs. Cummins. But everybody is here for the right reason, so just please try to continue to support our staff, and you know, I think it'll be successful as long as we remember our virtues, but not just for the kids, but they're for the parents as well. And that's really all I have to talk about with the changes. If anybody else wants to elaborate. Okay.
So the next item is, here, we're going to chime in on that one. So the next one is the charter extension. So Maryland law changed in the last year, as many of you know. In most charter school laws, the premise of the charter school movement is you get freedom from day one in exchange for achieving results. Maryland never allowed that freedom, but in the last revision of the law, which happened this year, we now have the ability to negotiate after 5 years of successfully running the school, well, operating under the existing way of doing things. We can negotiate for a bit of autonomy. And so the board has put together a letter requesting a waiver for a 1-year extension of our charter agreement. And let me explain what that means. So Frederick County has a policy that is different than other counties in Maryland. Frederick County grants you a charter for 4 years, and they will not budge on that number. We've requested different numbers, even in a 5-year charter in the past. When we requested that in the past, they said, come back after 2 years of operation, we'll consider giving you a longer period. The changes that happened in Maryland's law say that if you've run the school successfully for 5 years, as a part of your renewal cycle, you can go and request more autonomy. It's pretty specifically worded, so that if for some reason you're in a county that offered 6-year charters, or like most places, like Baltimore City offers 5-year charters, Frederick is different, only offers a 4. It has to be part of your renewal cycle. So in our case, if we renew at year 4 and get it out to 8 years of operating, we couldn't request this autonomy until the 8th year. So what we're doing is we're requesting an extension of 1 year to try to get the autonomy as soon as we can. This is no surprise to Frederick County Public Schools, because in our charter contract with them, we actually are very explicit, and you guys can read that contract, and then we sent it out. And we said to fulfill our mission, we need autonomy. That's our goal. And both parties agreed in that contract that if the law ever changed to allow us to get more autonomy, that they would honor the law, and so would we. Well, and so in keeping with what's already in our signed contract with Frederick County Public Schools, we wrote this. So I'll just read it to you. But the main premise here is that the reason why we're asking for a 1-year charter rather than more time is because that would make our renewal at 5 years, which is what the law says we need to be in the process of to actually request the autonomy. So we said we're requesting a waiver for a 1-year extension of our charter agreement. That's a waiver to FCPS's policy of 4 years to allow 5 years. As you know, the Maryland General Assembly passed a charter school bill during the last session that allows for charter schools to negotiate for more autonomy in the area of staffing upon their 5-year renewal cycle. Furthermore, our charter contract with FCPS states that both parties recognize our intention to obtain more autonomy in the area of staffing and to recognize any changes in Maryland law that would facilitate this. Additionally, in public meetings in the past, when the topic of the FCCS charter length has come up, the Board of Education members have encouraged FCCS to seek a charter extension after 2 years of operation, which we have now completed. As such, FCCS is requesting that the Board of Education grant a 1-year extension of our charter contract from 4 years to 5 years. This This would enable our school to begin discussions with FCPS during a renewal cycle about having the level of autonomy FCCS seeks to better fulfill its mission and vision as expressed in our contract. Thank you for considering this request. So that is the letter. We have a movement. Any discussion about this letter? And we have a movement to approve it and send it off to Susan.
Well, we can put your signature.
All
Honestly, I really don't know. But I do agree with it.
right, well, we can put my signature on it. All right, we can
Okay,
put my
I'll
signature.
move.
All right, with my signature.
I would second that.
All right, all in favor? All opposed? All right, very good, so that passes. And then we have the financial update.
Thanks, Tom. FCCS's fiscal year ended on June 30th. Since then, the independent auditors have been to the school and performed their work, and they issued a clean audit report. We submitted that to Frederick County. Along with that, we also submitted our budget for fiscal year 2016, which we're currently in. That's been finalized with FCCS. Both those materials are available on the website, along with the monthly financial report, which gives us a month-by-month comparison to the budget, as well as a summary of program activity.
And I do have a copy here. This is for the month ended August 31st.
For August 31st.
Yeah, I was not able to make a copy for everyone because the photocopier was acting kind of funny and would not collate and staple, but I do have a copy here if anybody wants to look at it after the meeting.
Any questions for Tim? And then what our net balance is about 160,000 in the bank right now. Always good.
It's
know what
always
that
good to
number-
have.
As long as that
some
number
extra
stays
money.
positive,
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, so
All right, Clubhouse Kids renewal. So I talked to Amy, who runs Clubhouse Kids, about the potential of receiving, in light of the fact that we were doing a renewal and just have an interest in continuing this service, if she had an interest in submitting something to us in terms of a potential contract to extend her time here. So she had sent us an agreement, a proposed agreement about extending the term of her contract with us. And so the way it's stated in this agreement is that it would be in perpetuity. And then Tim raised a question via email when we received this about extending in perpetuity. So I wanted to open up for discussion with the board about what folks thought about that. I'll offer my quick remedy to it, which is I think that I think if we just extended it to a year to match, make a contingent on this renewal going through, and that way we have child care coverage to the end of the term, and then we need to make a decision later. Just my thoughts. Anyone else wants to chime in about our proposal to this?
So what you're saying is that you would extend this for the end, until the end of
One more year.
one to 2007?
18. I believe it will be at the end of the first term, so
Right.
get the 5-year renewal.
Right, because, yeah, I mean, there is still the ability in there, like she says, they do have the provider, based on parent feedback, like say, I mean, she does a great job, but say somebody else took over, or, we didn't like the way things were looking. There is still a way to get out of an agreement. You never want to say, oh yeah, we'll keep you forever, because in case things start to go bad and you can't get rid of a provider at your school, you don't want that to happen. So there is a part in here talking about parental, like a survey, and they have to score at least 75%. I mean, is that the way the original
I
contract
think
was
this
as
is
well?
the original contract,
Yeah.
just with revised language.
So if you've got, more than 75% of the parents are complaining and having issues, we can still remove them if that were the case. So I'm good with it. I didn't like the idea that it was, forever and ever. So I'm glad
Do you
that
want
Tim.
to have a motion for a counter proposal or further discussion?
I think my question would be the $7 per hour rate. Is that standard in Frederick County for usage of a school by third
I think
parties?
it's what we have now. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're saying we were worried about increasing it.
Is
Yeah.
that standard across the county?
I have to look. I know when we negotiated originally, we looked at what the standard rate was, and I think we were close, but.
I think it was within the range. I remember talking about it. But you do bring up a concern concern that if, a couple of years from now, if they charge more, if their rates go up, we're still kind of bound to the amount that the school could charge them for rent. So that I feel like might need a little bit of, well, let's see about that. I mean, what happens, inflation goes up, we're paying twice as much for electricity, or, I don't know. Who knows? If our
Right.
expenses increase, if we can't increase, based on that. So we may want to put something in there about a reasonable raise in rates should inflation dictate or something like that.
Do you have any language you want to propose, or do you want to?
Just one under Q on page 3, it refers to it, and requested the provider will provide a certificate of insurance. I'd like to see that, or we should see that before we commit ourselves to a new agreement.
Okay.
All right, so we have a movement that would include a contingency, or do we want to punt and just have some face-to-face talks with her?
Well, it says, it's already in the contract, they should provide it.
Right, either way.
Yeah, she's just saying she
Right.
wants to
You
see
just
it.
want it.
It's just a point of order to take a look at it.
I'm trying to find the part that talks about how much, even if they raise their rate, we can't raise Clubhouse Kids rates. I'm just trying to find where that is. So I'm not sure how to reword that, but we may want to get some legal mumbo jumbo from Holly, maybe.
Well, we don't have to decide.
Yeah.
They just seek advice of counsel and, do some research on the rates.
Yeah.
And then come back to this next month. And we're already covered in 2017, so we have plenty of time.
Right.
I think the 1 year extension makes sense to check, cover our bases.
Mhm.
Insurance.
Okay, sounds
So,
good.
a motion to table.
Yes.
Wait, so motion to table, we have to, someone actually has to move that, so.
I'll move.
Okay, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, great. The next one is acting head of school.
Acting head of school, so Mrs. Cummins will be going out on Friday, is her last day here, while she's on maternity leave. So she needs to be home a little bit earlier than her due date, according to her doctor. So we kind of foresaw that to happen, spoke with Dr. Harris, and he's arranged for Mr. Jerry DeGrange, who had been our acting head of school back in year 1. He had done it part-time with Pam Pencola. For those of you that were here back then, the two of them kind of split the position. We didn't have an assistant principal, so the two of them just split the position. It was full-time between the two of them. So I've discussed with Dr. Harris, Mr. DeGrange's hours, not really feeling that we need him to be here 40 hours a week. We still have Mr. Hand here. We do have more support staff than we did. And this is a period of time that's brief. It's not indefinite. I don't think it would exceed 3 months. So Mr. DeGrange and Mrs. Cummins and Dr. Harris are all deciding and discussing his hours. So we're looking at about 25 hours per week. Between now and Christmas, there's all kinds of days the kids have off. There's half days, there's days off from school. So some weeks he might be here 30 hours, other weeks he might be here for 8 hours, depending on how many days that week the kids even have school. Because Mr. DeGrange has been here before, I think it's a great option. He kind of is familiar with our school. We've gotten good staff feedback from Mr. Bickle that he was well received by our staff, so he's not a stranger. And he's just really easy to work with. He's a very nice guy. So hopefully he will be present at our next community meeting. So those of you that haven't met him can meet him. So he's going to begin next week on Monday. Okay. And the other thing I forgot to mention, I did say we were going to talk about dates for our upcoming community meetings and business board meetings. The reason that this is kind of weird is after the new year, what we had planned on doing is having our board meetings, our business board meetings on the first Monday of the month, and then our community meetings on the third Monday of the month. Those were the days that the most board members would be able to attend. It turns out after the new year that there were like 3 days, there's one January, February, March, the third Monday of the month always falls on a day the kids don't have school. So it wouldn't be wise to have community board meetings on those nights. So what we've done is decided to flip-flop, and we'll do our community meetings on the first Mondays of the month, beginning in 2016, and we'll have our business board meetings usually on the third Monday of the month, but occasionally we even have to change that because of all these days off. So I'm going to throw out the dates for those of you that are date conscious and want to write this down, but they'll also be posted. We'll have Miss Allison Rizzo will put them on the calendar. Community meetings, so for community meetings in 2016, we're going to have January 4th, February 1st, March 7th, April 4th, May 2nd, and June 6th. Okay, business board meetings will be January 18th, February 22nd, March 14th, April 18th, May 16th, and June 20th. Okay, so I will have Allison Rizzo put those dates on the calendar. So for October, November, and December, we're going to continue with the third Monday of the month for our community meetings, just to kind of keep what we're doing right now. And it's just going to change in 2016. Okay?
All right, more comments by me? I'll keep it short. So,
Oh, I doubt that.
no, I allowed myself this much paper to write down, so that's as far as it's going to go. So, thank you guys for letting me be your first board president. Glad Susan to be the second board president. And so I wanted to offer a few reflections, very positive reflections, I think, on what the school, is right now, what it can be, and how we started. It's good to remember where we started. We were.
I think we were in your kitchen.
We were in my kitchen. We were in my kitchen. I remember that we had a lot of people from the community. Some of them are not here anymore. They moved on to other schools. That's how long we've been at this.
They weren't tough enough to deal with the long haul.
We lost a few people along this very long road. But that was a great time. I remember us sitting at my kitchen table, talking about what the school is going to be. We were so excited. We had such hope and anticipation. And I think that's important to not lose that. We have had our disappointments certainly in the last couple of years and challenges. But this came from a really good place and a lot of good people. We spent a lot of time putting together everything that you see that's here. It's kind of amazing, truly, that as I've said before, when we opened the school, it's kind of amazing that we're even here. And I think one of the lessons we have to learn from this is just can't ever give up. We've had so many challenges just getting started, and we never gave up through all that. And I think that's important. I hope that in the future this will be a board that looks back and remembers that in the beginning, when we were told no many times, we just kept coming back and said, well, we're just going to make them say no one more time, and eventually they're going to get tired of it. And so eventually they did say yes. And I hope that's a good lesson that this board and parents who are at the school realize that you can only say no so much. Eventually you have to say yes. And I was very thankful when Brad Young and Jimmy Reeder and April Miller and Donna Crook, said yes to the school. That was amazing. And then after that, Donna Crook started saying no to the school, and there were challenges with, we proposed so many different leasing options and so many different charter terms, an 8-year term, a 5-year term. Finally, we defaulted to the 4-year term. But it was a fight the whole way, and I think the lesson I would really want to get from that part of our experience is if you look at all the time we have just made them say no one more time, we have always gotten something out of it. We have always gotten them to say yes. So if you look at the request to actually manage our own money, which is normal in other parts of Maryland, was never normal here until we made them say no. And they didn't say no, they said yes. And now we actually have a bank account that has money in it that we can use to save up to get a building sometime. And to actually spend money directly. If we need something, we can run up to Walmart and get it. The other charter schools in Frederick County don't have that as an option, but we do because we made them say no to us and they said yes. So I think that's the important thing is to not be afraid to make them say no. Eventually, they will get tired of it, and eventually they will give us what we actually need to truly fulfill the mission of the school. So I think that's a very important thing, is to not lose that fight, if you will, to not lose that willingness to ask for waivers when you need it, to challenge the policies and the status quo that are keeping us from fulfilling our potential. Be willing to ask for those things. It's a tough place to be, but in the end, we were always able to get what we wanted. We just asked enough times. I definitely hope that one day the legal and political environment is going to allow us to operate as most charters do. That's a long-term effort, very long-term effort, I think, here in Maryland. I definitely wish the charter could be better in some respects, and it would if those things had changed. And I apologize for those who don't like me talking about that, but there's a real impact to where we are. It's a very tough place to start a charter, both in Maryland and Frederick County. And again, I think we should just appreciate the fact that we got started, but also not let the final word be, well, we started a school and that's the victory, right? I mean, the final victory really is to operate as most charters do, to really fulfill the mission and vision that we worked so hard to put into the application. And right now that's hard for us. It's very hard for us to be an independent school where that's illegal in Maryland, basically. It's hard for us to manage the way we want to manage when we're simply not permitted to. So I hope that when parents look at this school and they think about it, that, a comment I get a lot, and this is a compliment, but I want to challenge us a little. The compliment is, well, we're better than most of the regular public schools, and that's great, right? But I don't want that to be taken as the end game. We didn't start the school to do that. We started the school to be something truly great and truly unique, and I think in some ways it certainly is unique. But greatness takes time, and excellence takes time, and I hope that we don't, as a community, ever go down the path of saying, well, look, we're at least a little better than those other guys, right? I mean, that's not what sports teams do. You don't go and say, well, we beat most of the other teams. I mean, you want to be as good as you can be, right? And it's not really about beating, the other schools. It's not about that. But my hope is that we look up to where the charter says we can get to. So I hope that will continue to be the aspiration. It's been a great concern of mine that we've accepted the consolation prize. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. A lot of effort has gone into us pursuing the utmost that we can be, and I really hope that we will not slide back into we're a little better. What we're trying to do is pursue something that is truly great and truly inspirational if you take time to look at what the original founders had. And I do think that we can do that. I think we have great board members that have joined us. I'm very excited that you guys are here. And again, I just hope that we can continue to really aspire to what it was supposed to be and not forget what happened when we were sitting around at some tables, dreaming this up. Let's not lose that. Let's continue to push forward. So thank you to all the board members, the founding families, the committee chairs, the parents who are here, who are actively participating, our staff, and especially my family that went through a lot the last 6 years. So thank you all. Celebrate with a cookie cake, the terrible.
And if everybody has this much, we'll have enough for the whole
That's
group.
right, if everybody has a small piece, we'll do. So I guess we should adjourn.
Yes, we can adjourn, unless anybody has anything else they want to add today. I don't think I could.
All right, I'm done talking.
I won't even try.
All right, thank you guys very much.